What's up, guys? Welcome back to Meet Up Plus. We're back with another episode. Bienvenidos a todos los que están escuchando este podcast. Y tenemos un especial muy especial desde Phoenix, Arizona. Pero antes de empezar, queremos invitar a cada uno de los oyentes que si no han compartido este podcast, que lo compartan. Si no han se han suscrito en YouTube, que se suscriban y que pasen este podcast a diferentes personas para que sea de bendición. So, I'm going to let the guest introduce himself. Voy a dejar que el invitado se introduzca.
Buenas tardes, good afternoon a todos, everybody that's watching. Mi nombre es Elías Rivas. Un gran privilegio estar aquí con ustedes esta tarde con mi amigo Joseph.
Amen. Thank you for being here too.
Thank you for the invite.
So, le agradecemos por su tiempo, por estar aquí igualmente. Y tenemos un testimonio de parte de nuestro hermano que es muy impactante, que aunque yo estaba en su ministerio de muy chiquito, I kind of knew about it, but I didn't know in depth of like, why isn't he here and stuff like that. So, dinos un poco de cómo fue tu niñez en la iglesia, o cómo fue la experiencia de ser hijo del pastor empezando un ministerio.
Bueno, pues nuestro ministerio tiene 33 años.
Amen.
Acabamos de cumplir 33 años en julio. Cumplimos 33 años. So el ministerio, mi papá y mi mamá empezaron, bueno, yo tenía 3 años. So desde los 3
Really
años I've been in church pretty much.
Yeah.
A los 3. Ahí crecí desde niño, me recuerdo yendo a la iglesia, a la oración de 6 de la mañana, escuela dominical, church pretty much every day.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I didn't really have a normal childhood. You know,
Yeah.
I wasn't able to be playing with toys and having, a lot of mom and dad time because we were always
Busy.
in the church, especially when you're starting off a ministry. Your focus at church the whole time. So, yeah, I grew up at church, adolescente, joven, until now, but there was a time where, I decided to get away from everything because being a pastor's kid, sometimes you're thrown in everything. You hear about people talking about this, people talking about that. We're human. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they expect you to be perfect. We're not perfect. We're not perfect, people. All right, we're not perfect. We do mistakes, and we continue to do mistakes. But that's something that led me to get away from the path with God and stuff like that.
So, what is the reason, or what were the reasons that separated you from church? And at what age was it?
Well, to be honest with you, since I was probably like 15, to be honest with you, I was living life, worldly life. Not gonna lie, not gonna sit here and pretend that I was an angel. I wasn't. I was going to church because I had to go to church. I was a minor. I was 15, 16, 17, even to 19, 18. I went to church because I had to, but I was not living a Christian life.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the worldly stuff. I was doing the house parties. I was doing all kinds of stuff, when you're a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did the whole, once I got older, 21, 22, I started doing it more, clubbing and drinking, doing all kinds of stuff. Till it got to the point where my parents, they're like, hey, you know what, you can't be doing that no more. Either you have to pick, either you stay here at church and follow the path, or you go your way and live life. And I decided to live life. I left, and also the whole, like I said, being a pastor's kid, it's like they expect you to be perfect. They expect you to do all kinds of stuff. Like I grew up in an era where it was really religious. Like me having a beard probably pecado. You know what I mean? Me having a fade like this or a haircut like that is like against church.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's back in the days. Now, I mean, thank God it's not like that no more. That we can do certain things and we
Not
don't
like
get
strict.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that also led me away from that. And like I said, there's always people that talk here and there, and about your parents, about your brothers, and like I said, we're humans. You know what I mean? You don't want to hear that. I bet you don't want to hear someone talking about your pops, right?
No,
exactly.
It's tough.
It's tough. So I got away from all that because I just didn't want to hear all that negativity. I was hurting myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hearing all that stuff, because I would want to get up and go beat up somebody. You know what I mean?
That's true, because me being a pastor kid myself, it hurts, and it puts, it would put some type of feeling in me against others when you would hear like people talk about your parents.
Exactly.
Mostly people that I knew my parents helped out. Like I would see my parents like give their time, or they would sacrifice their stuff to go help out this person, and then months later they would walk out of church and talk like crap about them,
Exactly.
and it hurts you. But that's true too, 'cause like my dad said it a few weeks ago too. He was talking about that subject, that um, the people from church, their kids could do something, and it's like all right. But
Yeah.
if I do the same thing, it's a whole different story. It's like a higher bar, I guess, that they put on pastors' kids. So is that what led you out of church?
That exactly that's what it was. You know, a lot of people like talking stuff, talking smack. I mean, imagine someone talking about your dad and you're in church, but you're not full of God.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Your first reaction is, "Oh, I'm about to knock this dude out." To be honest with you, you know what I mean? And I just got tired of getting pointed fingers and this and that. So I was like, enough is enough. I'm gonna live my life and I'm gonna do me. Obviously, in the back of my head, I always knew, you know, like my family was Christian.
Yeah.
Actually, I never, when I was in the world, when I was living the worldly life, I never, when they told me what religion are you, I would say my family's Christian. I would never say I was Christian because honestly, I wasn't living a Christian life. Because there's people out there like, oh, I'm Christian, but are you really Christian?
Yeah.
Your family probably is, but you're not.
Yeah.
So that's something that I would always say that, like, my family's Christians. You know, my parents are pastors, but I'm not. You know, I don't follow their religion. I believe in it, but I just don't. I don't live that life.
And like in school, when your friends at school would know that you were a pastor's kid, how was that like experience?
They was just like nothing, you know, like nothing. Yeah, because they don't know. You know what I mean? They don't know too much. I didn't go into detail with them and stuff like that. You know, they just knew I went to church. I'd be like, oh, they'll call me and be like, hey, hold on, I'm at church right now. When I'm done with church, I'll meet you up. You know what I mean? So they didn't know like exactly what.
Like in depth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because well, my experience was different because I didn't really like talking about my family because they were Christian, and I didn't want anything to do with church. So I would be like, I don't know where I am. But it was like how the Bible says that if you si te avergüenzas de él, él mismo se avergüenzará de ti. So when I would say that, it would like be like, oh, I messed up. But like during those years of high school, like people just want to like stand out and like be friends with everyone. And what was the things that kept you in the world? Like what attracted you from the world during that time?
Well, what time are we talking? Are we talking about my high school years or my little bit grown up years?
Let's talk about high school first.
High school, like I said, high school and all that was always in and out. I was always in church, but not really in church. I had 1 feet in, 1 feet out. I was living both lives, you know what I mean? So, I mean, the friends, the girls, I'm not going to lie, girls, parties, you know, living that fast life.
Yeah.
You know, not spending my time at church for 4 or 5 hours at a time, you know? So that's what kept me out. The friends, the party, females.
What about your adult years? Was it like the same attractions that you had, or was there different stuff that attracted you when you got older?
Yeah, you could say the same stuff.
Same
you know,
stuff?
But now there's more. I could do it. I was doing it full time, like without hiding nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because you're older now.
Yeah, there was more in the open. Like I didn't care if, like, let's say, una hermana me miraba. You know what I mean? I'm not hiding it. You know what I mean? I wasn't hiding it. I had no shame. I lived my life. It was the same thing. And parties, but now it's clubs.
Yeah.
Drinking, I can drink legally
Yeah.
now. You know what I mean? The clubs come drugs, come females, all that, friends. You know what I mean? You're working now. You got money, tables, bottles, all kinds of stuff.
And
trips.
And like you said, like when you were 15, it was different because you didn't really have a say of like.
Exactly. I had to hide it.
Yeah.
I had to hide it a little bit, you know, from my family, from my parents. I had my ears pierced. I remember I was little. I was 15, 16, about there. And every time I would take them off before I went inside of the house.
And they never noticed the hole on it?
Well, they did, but they never saw me with them.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
And when your parents found out that you were like not interested in church, what was their reaction about it?
They were hurt, but they knew, like, if they left it in God's hands, that everything was going to work out fine.
So it was never like because we see, well, at least I've seen in church, like, different families, how they treat, like, situations. And I've seen parents that, like, fight with their kids about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen other parents that, like you said, they just leave it in the hands of God. So there was never like that tension of fighting
Well,
and fighting.
with my parents in the younger years, it was like I said, they had authority over me.
Yeah.
So there was that you have to go to church, you have to go to church, and I did the opposite. The more that they would push me, the more that I would fall back. But once I got to age, they gave it to the point where, okay, he's of age, leave it in God's hand. If the whole pointing fingers and go to church or this, and you need God wasn't working, so they took the other way. Let's just leave it and fasting, praying, pactos. That's what they were doing.
And now that you see how the world is living and how you lived it in your experience in those times, do you think times have changed of how easily sin is available for the teenagers now?
Oh yeah, easy. If I had what generation has right now, man, I probably would have still been in the world, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? I probably would have had kids everywhere, to be honest. You know what I mean? There's a lot of this Snapchat, Instagram, there's a bunch of dating sites now, all kinds of stuff. Like in a click of a phone. Back then, I was used to the flip phones, the sidekicks, you know what I mean?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you ever saw the Razors. No, see,
I don't even know what
there
that
was
is.
no Instagram, no Facebook. There was MySpace. You know what I mean?
I've heard about it, but I never like knew what it was.
Yeah.
Is it like a type of Facebook?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah,
A little bit more less than Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah. And MySpace, you could put like music and stuff like that.
What
It was
the heck?
funny.
Valentin had MySpace. How I
Bobby Valentino in the
Bobby
house.
Where could we find you in MySpace, Valentin?
What's your underscore, bro?
And then, what attracted you to leave the world?
What attracted me? What made me, or
What made you leave the world?
well, my brother Misael. Shout out to my brother Misa. He had an accident. I think it was like on the 4th of July weekend. This guy was trying to impress females. I know he was. He's married now, though, by the way. He's good. But he jumped from, like, I think a roof or something to jump into a pool, and he slipped and he broke his back. So during that time, I was, like I said, I was already in the world. No shame, no nothing out there. During that time, I already kind of had a feeling in my heart that, it's time to change. I can't be living this life forever, because I was getting much older. I was already like 27, about to be 28. Yeah. So I was like, I can't be partying every day with these kids and stuff like that. I need to find a wife. I was thinking about the future. So in my back of my head, I was like, okay, I need to sentar cabeza and stuff like that. Pero I was just waiting. I guess I was just waiting for like the next day. You know what I mean? But that accident that happened, my mom called me. He's like, hey, Mom never called me. I remember I was at the club. I was chilling at the club, and I saw my phone call from my mom. And I was like, oh, something must happen, because they never call me. So they called me, and they're like, hey, your brother had an accident. So I rushed to the hospital, and then me seeing my brother like in the hospital bed, all like with the.
Was that when he cracked his head?
Yeah,
open,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm. Seeing him there, that switch like that, like something switched on me that I was like, enough is enough. And from that day, like literally when I said it was like a switch, like I dropped all my friends. I stopped going out. Like I blocked everything from one day to another. Cold turkey. And to this day, bro, imagine leaving like the drugs, the alcohol, the partying, your friends, the females from one day to another.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And what was their reaction about it? Like when you told them this is what I'm gonna choose now, what was their reaction about it?
Well, they were happy, but they at the same time, okay, let's they've been down this road before, you know, like let's see if it's for reals. And shout out to my parents, because actually Misael was the drummer at that time, and he still is now, but at that time he was the drummer, so he cracked his head and back. So they didn't have a drummer. It's during aniversario.
Ooh.
So they didn't have no drummer. I'm a drummer.
Yeah.
Not that good, but I could keep a beat.
He's sick. He's pretty sick.
And then so I told my parents, like, hey, let me play drums. And this is me coming from the streets.
Yeah.
Literally coming from the next day, coming from the streets. They took a leap of faith. They're like, okay, because they knew music was something to keep me
away.
Keep me away and keep me like involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they gave me the green light, and then from that day, I've been here.
It was like my experience too, because I like music as well, but my parents knew I was like in the wrong path, but they always motivated me to be in
Yeah.
the worship team. And I think that's really important that like parents sometimes don't believe in their children and like
Mhm.
changing, but I believe that them giving you that chance of like go up there and do it, I think that was a pretty good choice that they made.
Yeah. I mean, I know they took a big risk because I mean, everybody knew who I was. They know this. I mean,
Mhm.
this guy's not straight. You know, he's not
And it's
good.
a big church.
And it's a big church, and they took that risk of people saying stuff, and I knew they were gonna say stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take it in the chin, and I'm gonna prove everybody wrong.
Yeah.
And to this day, you know, like my big motivation was my parents, my family, because I know they suffered a lot during the times that I was gone.
Mhm.
I missed a lot of times with them, like with my siblings and stuff. Like it was me going back to church was like me getting to know everybody back, like my family, like getting to know them again, because we were so far not connected, because they were so in church,
Yeah.
and I was a whole different lifestyle.
And like a pastoral family most of the time is in church. So
Exactly.
like, I think Ramiro said this that some pastor told him that if he wanted to be more with the family, he had to be more in church.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true because like as a pastor's family, we're always here every day of
Exactly.
the week.
Exactly.
And what do you wish you knew back then that could have prevented you from falling into like that darkness of the world?
The consequences of all the mistakes that you did that could come back to haunt you when you're like good and straight, because there's a lot of mistakes that I did in the past to this, not to, well, I could say I got rid of them already, but
Yeah.
they came back creeping little by little back. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like the mistakes that you did back in the days when you were younger,
that you probably don't even remember. but
remember came back to me
That's crazy.
now that I was like trying to be straight. And I know that was from the enemy, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I wish like that stuff right there, I wish I was like, okay, don't do this, because 10 years later that's going to come and affect you,
Yeah.
type of thing. Yeah.
And in your life, like, what has changed ever since you came to Christ? Like, did you have a bad attitude? Like, what was
Everything.
everything?
I mean, my attitude was bad. I mean, it's better now.
You're working on it.
I was still it's under construction. No, I mean, I'm better now. But yeah, I was my temper was bad. You know, I'm married now. You know,
Yeah.
that's changed. I have kids now, so yeah. I mean, my way of thinking more positive. You know, thinking about now I think about the present, the future. You know what I mean, and leave the past behind.
And now that you have kids, what would you like to teach them that you learned about this experience?
To never get influenced by your friends.
It's a big one, huh?
Yeah,
During
don't
school?
let your friends tell you what to do or this is the good way. No, none of that stuff. Be your own, you know what I mean? Follow
Yeah.
Christ, you know what I mean? So that's what I would tell my kids, you know.
More now in school, that's a big thing now in school, huh? Like peer pressure and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
tough.
That's why I think I'm going to have Misa. Misa's a teacher. I'm going to have Misa teach him.
Misa teacher. Put some discipline in them. And going back to like when you lived during this time, what's one experience that you remember when you were in the world that God took you out of and you knew this is God's mercy?
Wow, so many. But the main ones were I used to love to drink. I ain't going to lie. I used to love to drink and drive. And there were situations, but I don't even know how I got home. You know what I mean? And all I can think about is like, wow, that's God's hand. That's my parents' prayers.
Yeah.
My parents' pactos. My parents' ayunos. Because if it wasn't for that, honestly, I think I would have been dead or locked up. Because I was doing some dumb stuff.
And
Dumb stuff.
We've seen a lot of people die from that too. So that's
Exactly.
crazy.
So I mean, imagínate blacking out, not knowing how you got home.
Damn.
You know what I mean?
And like, it's like stuff that are inexplicables. Like you can't say that this is like normal that people just black out and go home is like God's mercy over
Exactly.
that was over your life.
Mm-hmm.
So any last words that you would like to give the youth,
Oh, we
especially
done?
the youth? Valentin's cutting, Bobby Valentino's cutting us out.
Come on, Bobby Valentino.
Any last words that you would give to the youth or like the people that are out there right now in that type of lifestyle?
Come to Christ. Come to church. You know, get yourself involved. If you're a youth that's still struggling with certain things, trust me when I said you can change. If I change, you can change. I mean, when I mean I live the worldly life, I live the worldly life. Like, no shame, party, clubs, females, drinking, smoking, all kinds of stuff. But that only lasts for a moment, you know what I mean? And when the friends are gone, you're lonely, you know what I mean? You'll feel empty. So come to Christ, you know, Christ is the way. You know, it might be hard at first, but if you involve yourself in church with youth, with doing things at church, trust me, you're going to change. And that's what helped me, you know what I mean? Me involving myself in church, like blocking everything. Like, I was like blocked. The first thing you want is, like, if you want to change, you're going to change. But if you don't want to change, you're not going to change. So
Like, it's up to you.
It's up to you, yeah. It's up to you. Like, if you really want that change, you have to work for it. You can't say, oh, I want to change and still be hanging out with friends that you know that are going to influence you to bad things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had to cut my friends. That was the hardest thing for me, cut my friends. Because I was used to hanging out with them every day. And to this day, like, I probably talk to one of them, but they respect me. You know, he respects me. He knows what's up. He knows I go to church. He doesn't invite me to go out or anything like that. But most of my friends, they're all married now. But I really don't socialize with them anymore.
Yeah.
So that's the big thing, is friends, and get yourself into a church that has a good youth group. I wish I had a youth group like the youth group that you guys have, that my church has.
Yeah.
I wish I had that when I was growing up, because I didn't have none of that stuff when I was growing up. You know, I had just hermanos pointing fingers. Oh, se corta el pelo, es del diablo. You know what I mean? Who wants to go to church, like, hearing stuff like that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or just like, it was boring.
Yeah.
Now church is more active, more. There's more things to do for the youth, for the kids, for the adults. You know what I mean?
Mostly when you guys are starting off, it's like, because there's no youth around, huh? It was just like older people.
Well, man, I mean, I was in the 90s, bro. You know what I mean?
The hermanos pentecostales.
Yeah, bro. I had to wear a falda all the time. You know what I mean? Couldn't wear a hat.
And going back to what you said about, like, if you want to change, you will change. Was there any times that you would, like, tell yourself, I'm going to change, but something, like, made you fall again into that?
Oh, all the time. Friends. It goes back to friends, bro. It goes back to friends. Friends lead you to bad things. The bad friends. You know what I mean? The bad friends, it just takes a phone call. Hey, we're going to go out. All right. You're there. Then we're going to say, hey, get a drink, bro. Here, come on, man. Stop being a girl. You know, it's easy. So you don't need those friends. You need dust as the first thing you need to cut. Your friends.
The peer pressure.
Yeah, cut your friends. And that's one of the main things. And you want to, and have it in your heart, in your mind, that you want to change. Because if you no está eso, then you're going to fall back again easily.
Dedicated to it.
And that's happened to me. I wanted to go back to church so many times before, but I always fell back because of my friends. I would go to church when I was in the world. I would go to church because I wanted to spend time with my family. That was the only time to spend time with my family, when it was like church time. But I'll be like, I'll go to church, but you guys have to take me out to eat.
And you guys would go out to eat
after Sunday school. And I would tell my family, don't when you guys are up there, don't say I'm your guys' kid, okay? So a lot of people for a while didn't know who I was. They just saw me walk in. They're like, who's this kid? Hugging, you know, pastor and pastora. Because I didn't want them, like, don't mention me at all. Like, don't post about me. Don't say nothing about me, because I didn't want nobody to.
Was there any time that you, like, you know, like how the devil puts things in your head? Was there any time that you regretted being a pastor's kid?
Oh, yeah. A bunch of times. I wish, I mean, you can relate. I mean, there was times I wish my parents were just regular people, or we could just, you know, be able to go out all the time, you know, like be able to do things. You know, if my parents weren't pastors, I think my parents would have been like good business people, you know what I mean? And they still are good business people. Shout out to my dad out there. But I mean, you know what I mean? I think we would have, I went to Pensacola, we would probably be more financially stable, you know, instead of being at church all the dang time. Yeah. Stuff like that, but yeah.
What was like the biggest discouragement about being a pastor's kid? Like, what did you hate the most at that time?
The people, like trying to go to church every day. Yeah. You know what I mean? My parents were strict with me. I had to sit in the front all the time. I couldn't sit in the back. No.
I imagine, like, because I know they're strict, like, with the church in general, and that's what, like, made you guys grow. So I can imagine that was pretty tough, like, growing up as your own kid.
No, we're strict now, but it's not like back then. It was more like people were pointing fingers at you. So you know, growing up like in the 90s, you know what I mean, early 2000s, it's crazy, bro.
Good thing I was born in 2000s.
Yeah, a
But-
lot of people coming with mentalidades like weird ones, you know.
Like they still think like, how do like they don't. How can I say it? Like they're still stuck in like the thinkings of like that type of year, you know.
Yeah.
Like I remember. I don't know. I'm gonna say it. Like there was a time where the songs that we would play were wrong to other
Oh.
people because you know, like,
Yeah.
like
like the whole rap situation, when you used to
Yeah.
play like rap or reggaeton, people be like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah, they're
like,
like-
come on, man. Like, how can you grow up in that? You know what I mean?
I mean,
How do you expect to go to church when you can't even? You know what I mean? You're gonna get pointing fingers at.
Yeah.
Come on.
like people that think that how you said that rap is not from God, or like the people that like rancheras that
Yeah.
are not from God, is like it's tough to deal with those type of people because like those songs are praising God, like there's nothing wrong with it.
Mhm.
But I mean, those people, you know,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've seen a lot of them like growing up in church.
So now these days, like I said, it's a lot more easier to follow
Mhm.
Christ because there's a lot more things. There's more doors open now. You
More
can listen to
accessible.
rap now,
Yeah.
Christian rap. You like banda? There's Christian banda. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You like worship? There's obviously worship. There's Christian reggaeton. There's all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean?
Like there's no reason that you could say like it's not for me. Like there's literally everything out there for us to reach Christ in this time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All kinds of stuff.
So, thank you for being here. Thank you for giving us your time. We
Thank you,
know
thank you.
came from 7-8 hour drive, and we thank you and your father for being here.
Thank you.
It was a powerful service. If you guys weren't in Sunday service, you guys missed it.
missed out.
But thank you for your time again. Thank you for giving us your testimony. And for you guys out there that haven't listened to other podcasts, we have more out there for you guys. We have I'm thinking about like more than 10, more than 15. We know we have a few that you guys can listen to, so go ahead and share those. We know there'll be a blessing for each and every one of your guys' life, and we'll be back with the next one another Wednesday. Thank you guys. Laters.
Peace.